interestingly, when I think of DAMWON Gaming, I do think of Nuguri and Canyon. So that top half of the map is so important, and when I think of SK Telecom, the current weak link in my mind is Khan. So being on the red side, maybe they can get Nuguri a counter pick and then see where they can take that. Because that would be how I would imagine that DAMWON tries to bring down SKT. So, jumping into bans, expect Cassiopeia, Camille, and stuff banned away. SK Telecom starting things off with a Vladimir.
This is exactly what I spoke about before. If they don't ban the Vlad, it's a bad draft. But they've already done it. Successful draft already, LS. Nailed it. Yep. Got in there. Cassiopeia, like you say, of course, going to be banned away. We'll see whether the Aatrox is going to sneak through. We've seen a few more teams experimenting with leaving that certain guy up as the Rakan, also going to take a hit. And interestingly enough, DWG Gaming here in the LCK so far have only won when the majority of their wins are with the Xayah Rakan bottom lane duo. They're 100% win rate with it, and they played it 3 times in 3 of their wins.
So SK Telecom's bans are more so focused against DAMWON than they are against the generalized meta right now. Yeah. And Urgot being the final ban by SKT. DAMWON did ban Lucian. This does mean the Aatrox is alive and well.
The Aurelia also up.
Doesn't really play Aatrox actually that much. He's inside of solo queue. He has played it once
professionally ever.
Right. So I don't expect SKT to take that. Now Galio's still on the table. That could get banned away, and that could lead to SKT snatching a Kali right away. But with Galio and Akali still being open, SKT can take the gamble. They could go Akali, and then DAMWON probably responds with a Galio pick. Or SKT could just say, I'm going to choose Galio, and if you want to choose Akali, you're welcome to. But then that can be ended up being met with like Vayne or Vayne mid.
Yep.
And whatnot.
Oh, okay. So the Aatrox is being considered here. Certainly would be a true flex. We know, Faker hasn't played it a lot competitively, but if you've been watching his stream, he basically plays it every single time he can get his hands on it. But now DWG, like you say, Akali is available. So many big power picks still left on the board. Still haven't seen a successful Aurelia here in the LCK so far, but still something that does need to be respected, especially watching Griffin. It's when you need to be able to ban that one away, but this is another example of a champion that you can't really let through because the Akali has been doing some pretty ridiculous things so far in the LCK, no matter who gets their hands on it.
And this could just actually be Akali Galio right here, and then you send the Akali top lane, but we're not seeing Nuguri change his summoner spells. A lot of people believe that you need the Teleport Ignite if you are to contend with Aatrox up in top lane, but not sure if they'll take that approach, and if they don't, I think SK Telecom probably just responds with Galio. Galio is great into Akali, and especially even more so Kha'Zix.
And they also know, right, that Canyon probably wants to have that Hero's Entrance on top of him. So Showmaker getting the last pick in this first round of the Galio is certainly something that they would absolutely love.
Camille.
So SKT can certainly grab Galio Camille if they want to. Cleared a great Camille player. Coming on over from the LPL.
We'll see if they end up doing that. I actually don't see a reason not to. You just put Khan on the Aatrox up in top lane, and then you just get Galio Camille. And as far as ADCs go, I mean, there's still such a deep pool available.
Yeah, certainly. That one hasn't been hit really at all, apart from the Lucian that feels like it is almost in permaban status here in the LCK. Showmaker thinking about the Zoe now that his Galio of choice has been taken away.
Not really too many options that exist against Galio that can actually beat him. Zoe being one of the few. Azir definitely is another choice, but does look like that Showmaker's just going to get that Zoe. And now, when you're DWG Gaming, you might just want to try to pinch junglers here and take that option away.
Maybe some of the favorites of Clid, and certainly getting the Hero's Entrance combo junglers out of the way would be a great idea. The Camille would make sense as the next ban. We'll see whether Clid's going to go back to something like his Lee Sin, which is so damn clean.
Sin very good against the enemy champions, but Nocturne and Camille, I think, is a little bit scarier. Has to be respected certainly more. SK Telecom banning away Ezreal.
Very strange. Of course, the Teddy special there, but going to be respecting Nuclear, being able to pick that one up straight after this ban phase.
So the thing about the Ezreal that's interesting to me is I think that it's suggesting that SK Telecom is going to go full engage, and they don't want Ezreal to be able to peel away. We saw what Zoe Ezreal can do in a situation late game, like in the game previously yesterday. if they can get online and get to that poke phase, it can become really difficult for a heavy engage comp, and then they become increasingly more reliant on their summoner spells. So Camille banned away by DAMWON. And now if you're SK Telecom and you don't want to deal with stuff like that, I mean, okay, never mind. They just banned the Alistar.
Yep, Alistar going to go. So bottom lane is what we're looking for here from DAMWON most likely. See whether they're going to save their 80 carry pick for last and see whether they can get the best lane possible against Teddy and Mata. And I think that's actually a really smart way of doing it. Of course, DAMWON oftentimes will try and give Noguri the last pick counter on the top side of the map, but I don't think top side is going to be as important because keeping down Teddy and Mata has been a way to route SKT in the past, as Nuclear are going to be locking away the Morgana, the only other champion that Hoyt has found a victory on that isn't Rakan. So
Morgana, perfect champion against Thresh.
Yep. Setting themselves up for a pretty decent Kai'Sa lane as well if Nuclear does want to go there. Has played it once so far. I don't think he actually found too much joy as Teddy's Draven coming out. Okay. One of my favorite Jin Air games of Teddy's was, I believe, a loss, actually, but his Draven was halving health bars with every auto attack. It was just ridiculous. A lot of really disappointing times for Teddy, but this certainly wasn't, and there it is.
There it is, the Lee Sin.
So this draft is looking terrifying. Jinx being considered here by Nuclear, but I don't think there are many great options into this lane. Teddy looking for as much adoration as possible, and he hasn't had to look very far since moving to SKT.
And now highlighting the Sivir.
Okay, going to be locked in.
Yep,
all right.
It is now locked in.
I was looking at it, I'm thinking, like, what is a good option into the Draven? And it just doesn't feel like there are many. And if you remember back, actually, it was Ghost against SKT that brought out the Draven and hard smashed the lane.
Yeah.
And I believe what I took from that game was you can be anyone and you can still get Draven.
You can still definitely get Draven.
Yep.
So,
now they're doing the Dravening, and we'll see whether it's actually going to work here for SKT.
And so the DAMWON Gaming team composition's very interesting. They basically just have to weather the storm against SKT. SKT's champions are absolutely massive at 1 and 2 items. And then after that, as long as DAMWON Gaming is keeping up and contesting with everything, it should actually be pretty smooth sailing for them.
The thing that's ridiculous, though, is I'm seeing a Draven and I'm seeing absolutely no tanks or anything that can soak any sort of damage on the side of DAMWON. They have to blow Teddy up before he can get any autos in. Otherwise, I just don't see a way for this working. Because look at this comp.
Yeah.
I mean, it works really nicely. Front to back, absolutely fine. You walk the Galio in there, you've got Aatrox bouncing around with his World Ender up. He's not going to be dying. And then you got Whirling Death flying in from the back line. The Zoe's going to have to be skipping around. The funny business with the shenanigans that Akali can always provide will need to be there, and Canyon's going to have a great early time in the jungle to be relevant here on this Kha'Zix and not just get 2 axes to the face and he's dead.
And if Showmaker ends up getting ahead on this Zoe, it's such a nightmare for the SK Telecom team composition because they're not well equipped to deal with her if she gets ahead. So we'll see what ends up happening as we jump into game number 1.
Aww, so sad. DAMWON, not with quite as many fans as SKT, but I don't think that there are many teams in the world that have more fans than SKT.
TSM?
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, remember, SKT very, very popular in China. So
oh, that is true.
Lots of people in China, as it turns out. Well, if we're talking about in the world, then maybe EDG and RNG probably a little bit more. And, of course, Invictus Gaming now especially. But that's not what we're talking about now. What we're talking about now is SKT versus DAMWON. Last time these two teams met, it was a DAMWON victory after a Game 1 win for SKT. And SKT actually back on that train, getting the Game 1 win against Sandbox and then falling apart, especially in the draft.
And, I mean, this game sort of works both ways, and as you can see, by the way, Nuguri has the Teleport Ignite. Akali can't really contend with Aatrox up in top lane without it. Or at least that is the common belief amongst pros right now, at least in the top lane matchup. Mid lane, Aatrox versus Akali, a little bit different.
Yeah, Akali actually hasn't been working out on the top side of the map. Akali mid, fantastic win rate. Akali top, not so good.
And actually, a little bit of a trade happening there. Khan, I think, definitely gets the better end of it.
Yep, Noguri actually deciding to go with the Grasp of the Undying as well this time. Not the fleet footwork that we've been seeing so much of. Wanting to get a little bit more of that health back and stacking a little bit more at the same time. So, subdued approach as the Santa Draven being picked up here by Teddy. So glad that we've got our Draven players all demonstrating the Draven. Ghost being the first one. And then, of course, Teddy back on the Draven hype train. We no longer have the Praven availability, but thankfully we've still got Draven play.
Everyone in chat sad. Reminding them that Prey is not playing. Mata misses the hook.
Yeah, and Mata not actually playing with his skin as well, after getting some really nice trades in after that play. Noguri still just dancing around here with Khan, but that's what happens. You can't expect anything other than this from the bottom lane of SKT, especially with these champions. As what I was going to say is that Mata didn't take his Samsung White skin, meaning that not feeling all that confident, does like to do it when he's feeling confident, as Khan cancels that auto attack, probably didn't want to. As Clid comes in, not going to look for the Q as Showmaker a little bit too far away. Both junglers not going to be finding any level 3 ganks at this point.
It's really interesting to me that Clid tried to make that gank before transitioning into left side river. What's going to end up happening now is Canyon's going to have the first recall, and then he's going to get priority on the right-hand side of the map. And if you look at the bottom lane, Teddy and Mata is shoving. And as long as they can crash this wave, it'll actually come back into them at around the time that Canyon would look to try to go bot lane, so they don't have to worry about too much. This is a beautiful pressure game.
Yeah, speaking of looking for things, Noguri not going to get pulled back with the Infernal Chains, but down to 200 health, trying to slink around, but Clid in a great position, and there's no more Shroud to stop Noguri from finding anything more, and that's going to be first blood to SKT. Getting some revenge after Kesper Cup and after Sandbox, starting on the top side of the map as well.
And what that ends up meaning is that Nuguri gonna have to commit his teleport here, and Lee Sin wants to path back to the left-hand side. We're gonna take another quick look at this replay. Remember, Kali does not have flash. She goes into a Shroud. Nuguri trying to figure out, hey, where can I move here? But it just doesn't matter. Clid goes for the swipe, doesn't actually throw out the Q, so in the end, Nuguri just ends up going down.
Yeah, didn't feel like there was much that they could do, but still more fighting as Faker turns up towards the bottom side. Nuclear, one auto attack will be enough, but not going to get it. As SKT, they don't manage to pick up any of the kills, but certainly win the battle on the bottom side.
End up committing Faker's teleport for that. Not going to be the end of the world, as Clid is in mid lane to pick up some of the CS and XP against Showmaker.
Yep, Showmaker having a great time though. Head by few farm after that roam does go a little bit astray. Very, very close to picking that one up, but getting every single summoner spell out of the DAMWON bottom lane will certainly mean good things in the future for SKT. Noguri trading back very, very nicely here against Khan, but he hadn't gone back home yet. Has the teleport, see what he can actually pick up from the shop. Cooldown reduction, generally what you're going to be looking for on that first back. And the Kindle Gem has been purchased. So, SKT having a great time when it comes to the top side of the map. Bottom side of the map, they've just got a better lane.
Oh. Oh, this is a really unfortunate timing. She just used Shroud.
Yeah, now Khan is down at half health. Doesn't have World Ender just yet. Noguri can potentially get something here, but they just wait out the Shroud once again, and Noguri's just getting picked on. Another kill going over to Clid on his very clean Lee Sin.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Akali. He's going to fall so far behind Khan, and then once Galio has level 6, things could get really ugly up in top lane with jungle mid lane roam. So we take a look at this again. Perfect timing. You can see Kha'Zix not able to be here as he's pathing to his golems. Nuguri just not able to crash this wave in time and then look for the recall. And so Lee Sin able to be here because he had no incentive to be on the right-hand side of the map after the way that he pathed early game.
Yeah, and also DAMWON have invested all of their vision basically on the bottom side of the map and the mid lane. So Noguri really does not have very much opportunity to push that far forward, but was up there, could have been a mistake. Level 6 is here for Khan, will have the World Ender if he wants it, but Canyon's going to get pulled back, and he actually doesn't even need to use the ult. More trades working out in favor of SKT on the bottom side as Noguri's going to dive forward. Khan does have to use the ultimate. Second charge comes in, Noguri's got the ignite. Khan flashes and will survive.
It looked a little bit disrespectful by Khan there. There was no reason to stay up as far as he did. Ends up having to blow his flash for it. He already made Canyon and Nuguri share XP. so he was getting even more of an advantage up in top as those minions were dying under turret. And in the meantime, Clid gonna respond by taking a Cloud Drake, which is gonna help him quite a lot on the Lee Sin for moving around the map.
Yeah, also getting Faker in position for Heroes entrances as well, so all that movement speed does count, as that vision that we were talking about now getting cleared by SKT. Teddy and Marta just having the best time possible. No turret plates to be taken just yet by Noguri, but he's getting closer here on the top side, and thankfully now has some vision to protect him against these ever-present Lee Sin ganks.
Should be a little bit of a down period right now. Have to wait for Faker to come off of Fountain, although it does look like SKT might want to go for a Lantern gank with Clid. He does have level 6. Morgana and Nuclear both don't have Flash, but Black Shield available.
A little bit of a visual bug there, but in goes Canyon. Teddy going to take the first bout of damage, but Clid's going to get the kick. Canyon has to get out, but the flash to follow, and Clid picks it up. This guy is on a tear. 100% of the kills so far.
And this is such a fantastic kill at the exact timing that it just unfolded. Teddy and Mata now know that they're going to have complete free reign for the next couple of minutes here down in bottom lane, as you know that Canyon now has to path to his red. You know that it just respawned. Everyone on SKT gets to play with map packs, but also just complete freedom to keep doing what they want in the lane. And with the left side jungle coming up for Clid and the fact that Faker can roam top, Nuguri is next on the list. So we take a look at this one more time. Hook end up missing, but it didn't really matter. Clid was waiting in the brush. Just a very good counter gank.
Yeah, perfect timing, and Marta getting the Lantern there just so the Boomerang isn't going to be hurting the Draven. Pops out the heal, and Clid does the majority of the work. But now it doesn't have a flash available as Noguri. Khan just going to umbrally dash over the wall, and Noguri actually going in for more. Khan doesn't have World Ender, and he's just going to go down. Man, the ultimate only just coming back off cooldown. Khan probably wishes he had that little bit more of the cooldown reduction.
And him going down there is a breath of fresh air for DAMWON as they get massive pressure relief, at least on the top-hand side of the map. And this is good as Aatrox wants to start pathing towards the right-hand side to pick up his blue buff.
Well, top side of the map is definitely where DAMWON have been playing around in their victories, and now finally getting that kill onto Noguri. Not sitting on 0-2-0 anymore. Does have that CS advantage. Big CS advantage, actually, for Showmaker as well as Faker, like you were talking about, has been roaming a little bit more. He's only got that revolver, but the Zoe is getting towards a mid-game that can be very, very frightening. His composition, though, is going to be so hard for DAMWON to wield against SKT and what they've put together as well. I'm frightened for how team fights are going to work for DAMWON because they're so squishy against a Draven.
What they're really relying on is later on in the game, Zoe needs to hit the Sleepy Bubble Trouble, and they have to just try to make picks with that. But first, before we talk about that, we'll take a quick look at the replay. Nuguri goes right over the wall. Clid not able to follow with the Q, and then Khan decides it was a good time to try to auto-attack a ward. So
it wasn't.
It was, yeah.
Spoiler alert, guys. It wasn't a good time to start auto-attacking the ward. Clid is going to be attacking DAMWON again, though, as Noguri not going to get infernally chained. But Shroud is down once again. Good knock up here from Khan as Clid makes his way forward. Lands the Q. That's what that extra range is going to do for you. And Khan picks up his first one.
He doesn't even have to waste the R. He knew that Khan could end up picking it up there. And they're going to be able to easily convert this into a couple of plates. I believe 2. Nuguri does have teleport available and Shroud, but that's quite a large minion wave. You can see Canyon beelining straight to top lane, knowing that Nuguri is going to channel that teleport.
Yeah, turret plates are going to get taken, though, yeah. Still a lot of caster creeps. Teleport probably not going to deter them here as Khan still has the ultimate available. They're actually just going to go for the dive now. Pulled back with the Infernal Chains, but Noguri just picks up that massive bounty. And SKT biting off once again a little bit more than they can chew.
Just a little bit sloppy. Didn't hit the Dragon Kick on Lee Sin to knock Akali into CC and then try to prevent her from getting into the Shroud. Yeah. A little unfortunate.
And also going for Clid was the perfect idea. Khan had that ultimate back available. But SKT going to continue knocking down these turret plates. Bottom side now is under fire as Canyon thinking that he can probably get some as well by picking up Shelly and throwing her against one of these turrets.
And Canyon Looks like he thought about stopping it for a second, but he is going to continue on. But SK Telecom saying thank you for the leash as they begin to make their way towards this Rift Herald. Canyon's going to have to give this up, and the Skull Crab to boot, so...
Yeah, he's going to bounce on over. They just did not have enough control as Trouble Bubble is going to arm. Marty uses the stopwatch just to avoid being paddle starred to death. SKT, though, not going to be too worried about it as Canyon's going to make this a 50-50. Taunt lands onto only one. Hook's going to be there as well, but they get rid of the bug first. Hoyt just going to get smashed by Khan, whose World Ender is going to keep him back alive. Can DAMWON actually find anything? And the answer is probably no, as Faker has the hero's entrance to exit the fight. Showmaker now still wanting to find more. Justice Punch moves in on over. And SKT make it out alive. 6-2 now, the scoreline, and SKT starting to run away with this game.
They got so much value there. Teddy was able to stay bottom lane, get so much XP in CS. Nuclear was brought into mid for all of that, but SKT walks away super victorious from this whole trade.
Yeah.
You can see here they're doing the Rift Herald. Faker actually misses the taunt onto Canyon. Didn't really matter. Galio, nice champion. And then Hoyt getting locked up right there. And Khan able to cast his ultimate to run away, and then the hero's entrance used as an escape for Faker. Showmaker mispredicting where the enemy champions would be. I actually thought he was going to go down right there, but Showmaker didn't quite have the damage. DAMWON now, however, as we return to live, looking to pick themselves up a Mountain Drake, and it's a good dragon, but they're never going to be in the driver's seat to use this against the turrets, and it's very unlikely to imagine.
Almost stolen there as well as cleared. Not going to make it out of there. Nuclear is going to pick that one up, and I just don't know whether that was worth it. Here for SKT, Clid throwing his life away. Now SKT maybe need to play a little bit more respectfully without their jungler on the map. Teddy says, no, I disagree with you. I'm just going to run at them. I'm Draven.
Run at them indeed. He will try. He does have that Bloodthirster now. Sivir also has her first core item.
Yep, Stormrazor is in. As Hoyt's going to go back to base. Marta not going to find him with any of these hooks. As the vision battle on the bottom side making it look a little bit like a Christmas tree down there. As there's the taunt. Really nice combo there from Faker, abusing the portal jump.
Look at the CS differential in mid. Yes, Faker has made some roam plays and whatnot, but Showmaker is doing a fantastic job. Almost 10 CS a minute.
And I think that this is always going to be so incredibly important this game as well. He needs to keep these health bars low so that SKT can't just walk at this DAMWON squad, right? So Showmaker needs to be landing the bubble troubles, as you say, and they need to be able to get in there and finish things off because Noguri and Canyon can certainly do that. With On the Hunt to help out as well. Any sort of pick opportunity that DAMWON can have, if they can snowball any of these fights, it's going to be very, very important for them. Level 10 on the Akali here for Noguri, who gets pulled back with the Infernal Chains, but straight up doesn't care, starting to really win these trades topside.
Yeah, has that Gunblade now, and Khan is going to be able to heal back up. He just hit level 11 as well. DAMWON Gaming looking to make a rotational play to maybe try to prioritize that Rift Herald and try to get the top tier 1 turret.
Yeah, Shelly, of course, not actually going down, did end up resetting. 15 minutes into this game means that turret plates have been down for a minute, so not going to be able to use Shelly to get any of that extra money, but can now start breaking open these turrets and getting the standing gold. Clid.
Faker, meanwhile,
yeah, Clid
getting
going
that
for
turret.
some sort of flank, but like you say, Faker's on the bottom side. He's going to be able to pick up that first turret. Not as important as it used to be, but still, they're going to be getting the objectives, and Shelly's taking a while to take down. SKT might try and make it 2. Half the health bar now, already been taken as Showmaker does get in there with the paddle star. Trouble Bubble not going to get followed up on, so Clid is going to be okay for the moment. Faker now just going to be starting on this blue buff and going to continue pushing this way forward. I just don't know whether the Rift Herald was worth all of that investment. You can see even in the vision that DAMWON put down, they certainly wanted to get the Rift Herald, but is it actually going to mean anything after losing first turret, half the health bar on the mid lane outer turret, and a blue buff?
Well, the Rift Herald is going to be able to bounce back and get that mid lane turret because Showmaker did quite a lot of damage to Faker.
7 health.
Faker's turret, and yeah, 7 health. That feels really unfortunate. Nuclear just going to walk back in there and auto-attack it.
Yeah, backdoor bonus not quite enough to deal with an auto-attack after only having 7 health, so Nuclear just going to come up and do that. So 1 turret apiece, both of these teams, and Did really feel like SKT had a snowball started, but if you have a look at the gold, it's only 2,000. We've seen leads like that can come from these sort of early kills be stretched way further than this. So far, DAMWON certainly still in this game. His composition is just going to be very, very difficult to wield as this game continues to move further forward, and I'm excited to see whether they can actually make something happen, because Noguri, despite having a very hard time early, he's got his Sork Shoes, he's got his Gunblade, got a couple of kills as well, so the Akali going to be scary.
And this is one of the things that was so interesting to me, and what we were really focusing on before this match started is the top lane matchup, and as many advantages and edges as Khan was given early on, I feel like Nuguri has been playing a lot better, as weird as that sounds, given that he was getting completely blown out early on, dying to relatively simple ganks and whatnot. But in terms of the actual trading and lane control as the game keeps moving forward, he's doing a lot better than Khan. And
especially now that he's got to level 12, he's got the Gunblade, he can go in for these trades very, very easily, both of these champions with their own abilities to self-sustain, but Akali, after, I believe, level 9 is when things just become a huge problem, because she just uses a Q and gets all of her health back. It's not very fair.
You don't like that?
No.
No?
I think that's...
You want to talk about fair things?
No, well...
Let's talk about Akali.
Oh dear. Well, Khan is saying that it definitely isn't fair, as he's going to cop that Q to the face, and Noguri gets all of that health back, exactly like we were talking about.
Well, that's why in 9.2, Aatrox got nerfed, but not Akali.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that that's how that worked. Certainly pleased to finish my placements.
Yep.
Don't you worry about it. Let's talk about Silas as well, shall we?
Yep.
No, let's not. We're not doing that. It's not 9.2 just yet.
All right,
we don't need to worry about him for the next few days, maybe next week, in fact. So it might even be the very next day of the LCK. We're going to have a couple of days off, and then Wednesday we'll be back in, but not sure where the 9.2 is going to hit, but it is likely that we'll get it. One of the first regions to get new patches in the past, and I think that is going to continue as well.
And so Ocean Drake picked up by SK Telecom. And right now, they're not making a lot happen. This Rift Herald's going to be used mid lane. That's certainly going to get it.
This could double charge as well, Shelly. Yeah. Not going to be all that useful in taking down the outer turret, but now getting the double charge in there means that they're breaking a real big hole all the way through. But now SKT are looking for that team fight like we were talking about. Showmaker, oh my goodness, that was a beautiful black shield. Coming in from Hoyt, just to stop Khan from getting any of the knockups. And SKT can't punish a turret and a half from going down.
And the real big thing here is, so the gold lead is relatively even when you consider the team compositions. You would expect SK Telecom's team comp to be the one that would get ahead. That's what you would expect coming out of the pick ban. So even though the gold lead says that SK Telecom is ahead, it's not really... I would actually say that they're probably not ahead right now. But the one question mark is Draven's passive.
Yes, when does the adoration come in?
Teddy has been waiting a really long time to let go.
Are you talking about 2018?
No, I'm not talking about Jin here.
Because finally, he's on the good team. But yeah, you're exactly right. He's, what was it? Blue Blades was the quote coined by Papa Smithy. He's got a bit of Blue Blades here at the moment. Really wants to cash in as quickly as possible.
I think he just got out of prison. He's waiting. Quite literally.
Are we talking about Jinner again?
No. So.
All right. Noguri down on the bottom side, though. He's just going to continue farming things up. Has the Oblivion Orb and Sork Shoe combo for all of that magic penetration, all that good stuff. Call that the Showmaker special. I feel like it doesn't matter which champion he's on. He likes to build those two items. Doesn't quite have them just yet, but that's because he's beelining towards a really cool hat and a Luden's Echo. This guy's going to be doing so much flat damage with this Zoe, but doesn't have a lot of utility and doesn't have a lot of ways to keep herself alive, so Showmaker does need to be careful in these fights. But I'm just so glad that he knows what his job is, right? It's so important for him to chunk people out, so he needs to have a build that's going to allow him to do that.
Yep. The death cap going to help so much, especially at all the sieges, and if they end up securing the second Mountain Drake, it's going to help a lot with the Baron as well.
Yes.
Helping his teammates shred that, and the second Mountain Drake is a really scary thing because we're approaching that part of the game where Teddy has not turned in his passive stacks. he doesn't have that gold yet on Draven, and it's a very real possibility DAMWON could win a fight.
Well, there's the play. It's a nice black shield once again, but off to the side, Whirling Death. Not going to be able to pick off Canyon. DAMWON looked for a catch, looked for a fight. They got a lot of health bar from Faker, but that is about it.
Not the best turn of events for SK Telecom, as DAMWON Gaming now are the ones in the driver's seat. You look at the top lane for them, it's beautiful for DAMWON. They're going to be able to allocate that gold into a carry as soon as they're done having this standoff with SKT in mid lane and everyone's just going back to retreat. So SKT losing out quite a bit on these stalemates that are happening.
Well, speaking of which, Khan just having a bit of a tete-a-tete with Noguri there. Nothing going to eventuate from it. Honey fruit going to be collected. Showmaker, he's got to be landing these trouble bubbles. He's got to be landing these paddle stars. Because now we've got Faker back with a full health bar, and we've got a turret that he really wants to take down. And SKT now looking for the dive. Canyon not going to get tagged up by that Q as Clid comes on over with the safeguard, and they will lose this turret. SKT just brute forcing. That's what this comp can do. If DAMWON can't soften them up beforehand. Because their ability to secure kills once they've got a low health bar is just ridiculous with Akali and Kha'Zix, especially with Nuclear there with On the Hunt available. Movement speed, very important as well. But DAMWON just going to run it all the way back, and the pendulum swung, and that's an inner turret going down in favor of them. Cleared, considering going for a kick, but another black shield stops that one from coming in.
Okay.
Nuclear with a brilliant spell shield, but now Khan gets into the back line. Soul Shackles not even going to arm because Hoyt's just straight up dead. Hero's entrance trying to find a knock-up doesn't get any joy as DAMWON so far just losing one. And you have to remember, these fights are going to go very similarly to this, because if SKT can get in there, they're likely to take someone down. But on the retreat, DAMWON can get kills if they can land these paddle stars and get the follow-up.
If SK Telecom is being forced to charge into them, it's so easy for Nuclear and Showmaker to just kite backwards, play front to back, and just make SKT hurt. But SKT, off of this fight, everyone was just missing skill shots, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But SK Telecom comes out ahead, able to finally bring down Hoyt, able to convert it into a Mountain Drake, and that's really big for them right now. So just take a look at this. Black Shield comes out. Mata couldn't find the flay, couldn't find the hook either, didn't matter. Khan found his QE. And then
I gave Mata a little bit too much credit there because he didn't even pop the spell shield, even though the spell shield was there.
Faker's ultimate not doing anything there, and at this point, the fight was essentially over.
Yeah, only one pick though, so that's better news for DAMWON Gaming. Mountain Drake picked up on the side of SKT, I believe, just after that play. So 3 dragons for them, 24 minutes into the game. Ocean going to be coming up next, not necessarily one that we really care about. No Infernals this game. But, I mean, we're going back to Teddy. This guy, he's got a lot of stacks, man. He is ready to cash in. He is ready.
He also has a bounty on him. So,
yeah,
DAMWON is trying to cash in on him in many ways.
Well, Khan going to dive on forward, but not going to be able to find too much more than that as Showmaker, some more buttons just going wide. That's not what you want to see. The difference between a DAMWON win and a DAMWON loss is going to be whether or not the Zoe is hitting her buttons.
Right now, DAMWON probably just trying to stabilize a little bit. Maybe they want Sivir to complete her next item and Zoe to get another recipe item. But SK Telecom now, with that Mountain Drake, it's a very real possibility for them to threaten Barons. They can shred it extremely quickly. So any pick at this point for SKT easily converts into a Baron, where the same actually can't totally be said for DAMWON Gaming.
I feel like DAMWON is like... Baron is probably one of the most risky things to start ever because it's going to do relevant damage to anyone who tries to tank it. They're going to have to sacrifice basically all of Canyon's health in order to get that objective down, so just go for the vision and deny it from SKT as best you can if you are DAMWON Gaming. Canyon getting ran into here by Clid, but Control Ward just going to be cleared out. And SKT continue to have some control around this topside river. You can see so many control wards and regular wards just hanging around in the area, but at least DAMWON do have a little bit of vision of their own.
One of the interesting things here for me is that also due to some of the poor side lane management of SK Telecom, DAMWON Gaming is actually ahead in levels, which is really bizarre. Nuclear has 1 level over Teddy. You could say that Mata has a level over Hoyt, but The ADC having the extra leg up is definitely the one that's more important.
Yeah, and also very close to picking up that third item in the Infinity Edge, or maybe even going straight for a Guardian Angel if Nuclear is feeling a little bit under pressure. But that BF Sword certainly, as soon as that is transformed into something, this will be a Sivir that we will need to respect. And Nuclear feels like he's had a free time over there as well. I mean, this is a 1-0-0 Sivir who got solo top lane outer turret gold. Like, this guy's been having a great time. Yes, he's behind in farm, but that's just how it's supposed to go. Is now Khan winning a fight finally here against Noguri, but can he actually complete it as Canyon makes his way in? Actually did pop the ultimate. No joy. Top laners just fighting.
Little trade right there, and it was a good sense for Noguri not to commit too hard, even with Canyon in the back.
Oh,
but
okay. That's it's just a kick to the face. And Noguri just was not ready for it. This tower is going to go down. SKT, this might be the opening that they needed, because now someone needs to answer, and SKT had control elsewhere on the map as well.
And Noguri doesn't have teleport. They could just convert this into a Baron. Faker has teleport available on him. He can just return there. So we take a quick look at this. QR, and see you later, Noguri.
That was actually, yeah, so Q,
Clid was
safeguard onto the ward, kick, follow for the execute. Yep. That was about as perfectly as you could have played that for min-maxing your damage. We talk about how good Clid is on the Lee Sin, and I'm really glad that we now have that for the example of how to combo.
And right now, SK Telecom actually elected not to go for the Baron immediately. I do find a little bit surprising. I think they're giving a lot of respect to the Zoe in the Sivir. Yeah, Khan just going to return down into bottom lane.
6,000 gold now the lead for SKT. That is starting to become a number. It is very, very scary. Only Griffin seems to be able to come back from leads of that magnitude, as Noguri continuing to try and fight against Khan, but that is not what you want to be doing. Shroud on cooldown, and we know what that means. Clid coming on over, trying to find more, as there's the flash through from Khan. Worldender is going to get procced, as DAMWON Gaming have now found SKT. Can Khan actually get anything more, though, as Faker, the shortest hero's entrance that I've ever seen, but that is going to keep the Guardian Angel active on this Aatrox, and that is just the kill under Noguri once again.
And it looks like now they are pathing towards the mid lane. Wonder if they're going to try to go for the Baron.
Oh, there's the
now.
flash under Nuclear. Can he actually get enough damage in, though? And the answer is yes. It's the solo kill from Faker, as the Lantern not going to be taken. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Not sure if that's entirely worth it. As in goes Showmaker once again. Teddy, you can see, just really wants to cash in those stacks, man. Any auto attack he can find, he's going for.
He is begging for a kill right now on this Draven. And right now, they're just going to get mid-tier 2.
I don't know what would be sadder, SKT winning this game without Teddy cashing in his stacks, or SKT losing the game. I'm not sure. As a Teddy fan,
gold lead now is really big for SK Telecom. They're going to pick up an Ocean, and this will mean that I believe an Elder is going to spawn next.
Drake Elder, no 6 Drakes this time around, as we're going to have a look at this one again. Didn't land all of the abilities, did Khan, but Clid comes in, finishes it off nicely.
Right there, Hero's entrance. And Draven and Thresh, you can just see on the minimap as the fight was basically ending, they kept running towards the fight. And then right after the fight, Faker decides to let Nuclear know that Galio's a fun champion.
I'm pretty sure Faker just... So that was from 100%. I think he landed every single bit of damage he possibly could and then killed him with Aftershock. Which is just cool. It's just cool. There was nothing else other than auto attacks that he had to do damage after that point. So,
I think Galio is a nice champion. I think everyone thinks he's a nice champion. Aftershock is a rune. Beautiful.
Oh, it's really good, isn't it?
It's great.
It certainly is. Do you know what I really like?
What?
Sarcasm. I just love sarcasm.
You know what I like? Aftershock
like?
Lysandra mid.
Oh man, you're a fan of sarcasm as well. Isn't this exciting? It's Khan pushing towards this inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map. Noguri's going to come over, but I feel like I've seen this show before. It's not generally a good one for the Akali. That being said, some respect given here from Khan, because he doesn't have his pocket lease in this time. Teddy going to go back home. 3 items before cashing in. The Adoration stacks 50 CS ahead of the clock, and now has an Infinity Edge on top of everything else. Draven does Massive damage regardless of the Adoration stacks or not, but I really hope he gets an opportunity to cash in.
I just want to see him end the game 0-0-6.
I just want to see the number. I want to see the number
0-0-7.
0-0-7. He's going for the James Bond finish with no Adoration. That's it's just bad news.
That would be the highlight for this Draven.
Yeah. He's got the Christmas skin and it's not Christmas, so maybe he's getting punished. I don't know. He's like Starbucks, you know, starting Christmas in October. It's not even there yet. I still have my Christmas tree up though, so I guess I'm to be blamed as much as Teddy is, who's walking into 4 people right now, but thankfully has some extra movement speed. Canyon going to at least get the lantern out of Mata, but Khan looking for this flanking play, diving into the middle of 4 members, and DAMWON are running for the hills. Good kickback there from Cletus. There, no, doesn't get the cash in. Oh man, it was so damn close. It's Khan. It's going to steal it away. Noguri now in amongst the team, has to use the ult defensively as there's the hook. But Showmaker able to get out of it immediately, and SKT don't find any more other than Nuclear.
They're looking to convert this into a mid-inhibitor capture, and this would make it a lot easier for them to start getting the Baron and then just going for the Doom push. Although, with that minion wave down in bottom, you can see Khan rotating to it immediately. Mata says, Teddy, come over here.
Yep,
they're looking to get 2.
Get in amongst it. They'll grab 2 inhibitor turrets. Not sure whether they'll get 2 inhibitors, but Khan says yes as he dives forward and gets the knock up. That is base obliterated by SKT, looking way cleaner today than they were against Sandbox in the last 2 games. We have to remember, game 1 did look very similar to this.
Take a look at this right here. Canyon completely overestimating his damage, and then Khan able to come in here. There's QE. Faker gets locked out by the Sleepy Bubble Trouble, but it just doesn't matter as Nuclear gets absolutely deleted. Nuguri just doesn't have any damage to follow up here.
Yeah, and has to use the perfect execution to get out, and so that is so much damage just going to waste here from the Akali. As Hoyt now in trouble. Oh, is he? No, he's not. Where is the Adoration? Where are the stacks, Teddy? Oh no. You can tell our observers know exactly what's going on. This Draven's ready to pop, and he can't. He just can't.
I just want to see how much gold he ends up getting off a kill.
Well, I mean, he's got a 1,000 gold bounty, highest in the game, and still hasn't cashed in. Oh my goodness. My heart is breaking every time Khan kills steals Teddy. And he's been doing it so many times.
It does look like now at this point they are just going for the final inhibitor. We'll see if they can end up securing it.
Showmaker's really got to actually start landing some of these skills because, yes, he's trying to deal with the minion waves, but it seems like SKT just straight up doesn't care about it. So much damage with these spinning axes. Just 2 of them, and Showmaker has to go back to the fountain, and now the base is in complete shambles. Only 2 more turrets remain, and they're sitting next to the Nexus. DAMWON Gaming just look like they have no options at this point because there's not a lot of comeback mechanics when a comp like this falls behind.
Yeah, even though they have a Sivir who is very known for her ability to wave clear, triple inhibitor down, really, really difficult. And now SK Telecom, using these triple inhibitors, they're going to be able to convert this into a Baron capture. And from that point, it's just going to be lights out. This Baron's going to be backed up by 3 Ocean Drakes. This is never-ending siege.
And 6 super minions per wave with the Baroned up attack speed as well. It's almost like SKT just need to escort those super creeps into the base and the game will just win itself. Khan takes down this Ocean Drake. 5 Drakes just setting themselves up to make sure that the Elder is going to be spawning next so that SKT has yet another win condition. 0-0-3, 404 CS at 35 minutes. Draven is so ready. Now, do you know what's going to be really funny? I reckon he's going to cash in by the time he's got 6 items anyway. And so the Adoration's not going to mean anything at all because he's getting close to it as an extra Zeal to build towards that 2nd Zeal item. See what he actually decides to pick up. Has Rapid Fire Cannon already, but could go for something like a Phantom Dancer just to be a little bit more bruisery. Well, and the Baron just taken down very, very easily. See, the axes do really hurt. I mean, Teddy just needs to auto attack someone about 3 times, and those stacks will come. It's going to happen.
Well, we'll see if he can end up getting a kill. That's all that I'm looking forward to here, as this should be the Doom push. I can't imagine a world in which DAMWON Gaming is able to recover.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. Probably talking about game 2 now, as Teddy still able to get some shots there. Trouble Bubble is going to land onto him, but no joy. The rest of the team able to gather around the Teddy. Now Nexus turrets starting to go down. DAMWON, do they have another fight in them? Are we going to see that big number from Teddy as he's looking for it? One auto would have got there onto Nuclear, but he does make it onto the Fountain as now Teddy just still looking for these auto attacks, looking for more. It is Khan that picks up another one though, as now the Nexus is under fire. Finally, he picks it up, immediately makes it a double now. Didn't see the number, but thankfully, he's not going to finish the game without an adoration pop-off. And SKT walk away with a Game 1 victory, but can they follow it through? DAMWON Gaming, it was the 2 games after this that were the important ones against DAMWON earlier on in the year, and against Sandbox as well. It was games 2 and 3 that we needed to look for. Can they make it a clean 2-0, or are DAMWON going to be able to fight back?
Well, we'll see. DAMWON, they should remain at least optimistic. They had a lot of disadvantages early on, but they stood in the game for a while. I don't know why they didn't play more towards Nuguri than they did, especially early on, but if Nuguri can get a lead, he was looking a lot stronger than Khan leading into the mid-game, so we'll have to see what ends up happening in game number 2.
Yeah. And I felt like the rest of the map sort of fell apart. I mean, Canyon was basically a non-factor throughout most of that game, and Cleared probably had one of the best early game Lee-Sin performances that I've ever seen. Just coming after Nuguri over and over again, giving Karn that lead that he was looking for, and then setting the bottom lane up just to win naturally after that point. I mean, what more do you need out of a jungler?
Yeah, Nuguri dying early on as many times as he did was really, really pressuring for his team, because he was supposed to be one of the primary carries, and if Kali can get ahead in that matchup or even go even, can actually become a nightmare in the top lane. There's a lot of kill pressure. So taking a look at the post-game breakdown, and Khan actually did a lot of damage.
A massive amount of damage. I guess more of those Qs were landing in the team fights than we were expecting, but also he was fighting against Nuguri over and over again, and then Nuguri was using that passive to heal himself back up again, so you can imagine why that number is so high. However, it's not often that you see the Aatrox being this far ahead of everyone else. Doing more damage than a Zoe in a game is just silly.
And Faker, I mean, this game he was helping.
Yeah.
9.1.
Well, I mean, that's, do you know the 2 champions that Faker has played so far in the LCK? Urgot and Galio.
Sounds like fun.
Just really doesn't sound like fun, does it? It's just not a great time for Faker there in the mid lane. But when things...
Waiting for Lissandra.
When he moves off there, when he moves off things like the Lissandra, the Urgot, or the Galio, it's not victories for SKT. So what will we see in game number 2? We are going to have a short break, guys, but when we get back, we are going to find out.